This section is so important because as long as you are dealing with software and code, you are facing exceptions. We always try to handle the exceptions. In ASP.NET Core, we have so many ways to handle the exceptions. In this section, I will try to show you just some of the common ways that we can follow to handle exceptions. Let's go to Visual Studio and start. Before that, I should mention, you can find the code inside GitHub. So no need to memorize anything, no need to be worried about anything. Just follow what I am doing, but later on, if you need something more, you can add to what I am preparing here. For example, maybe later you want to log the error somewhere. By adding one line of code or some line of code, you can achieve that goal also. Okay, let's jump to Visual Studio. Please pay attention. This is my getAllCars action method. Imagine that an exception happens here, like this. So one of the ways is using the most common way, most obvious way that any C#.NET beginner also knows. Try catch. But this way is so silly. Why? First of all, it handles the exception. I don't want to just hide the exception. I want to change the response and see the error inside my client, like Postman, whatever. If I am using any front-end framework like Angular, React, whatever, I want to be able to catch the error, to have the error in my hands. This way is so difficult because imagine that in a very big ERP, for example, I would have so many action methods. So handling exception like this is so silly. If I want to make a change, I have to make a change in so many places. So, okay. Try catch. Bye bye. I do not want to use try catch. So I do not delete because I want to keep it for you guys to have the code inside GitHub later. But everything is commented out. Let me change this also. Okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna have an exception and return result. So one of the ways that I can follow is creating something to put inside the pipeline. What is pipeline? Let's see. When we create a request, something like this happens, and we should go through all of these steps, or at least some of them. Exception handler, this, till middleware, like this. See? So if I put something inside the middleware, then it handles all the exceptions without any problem. Then no need to have so many try catch block inside any action method or anywhere else. So the first way is using something or creating something to have inside the middleware. So please pay attention. Inside the infra folder, I have created an exception handler folder. Then I created a class which has some properties like status code and message. If you need more properties, add more properties. So this is the details of the errors as I can imagine. As I said, if you need more, add more properties. Then I have used exception middleware like this. Forget this part. Forget this part. Imagine that it is not here. Just this. Exception middleware and then configure exception handler like this. As you can see, I have everything like a status code, message, everything. In this block of code, I have used the default exception handler inside ASP.NET Core. So as I said, no need to memorize anything, just use. You're gonna have the source code after publishing this section. So how can I use this exception middleware? Just come here, activate this. As you can see, the name of this method is configure exception handler like this. That's all. So now if I run the code and call this action method, you will see the result. Let's do that. See, 500 internal server error. This way is not bad, but are we able to have something a little bit better, or I can say, or I can ask, can we customize something for ourselves? Yes, it's possible. How? Here I have another one. Exception middleware custom, like this. In here, I have more details. I do not like this message also. Commented it out. So now I can have the exact error messages. As I said, again, no need to memorize anything. Use it. So to be able to use this, I need to have this extension also. That's why I have to uncomment this. So now comment this guy out and uncomment this one. What is this? This extension. So by having this, I can fire and I can handle the exceptions by a custom way like this. Let's run and see. See, now the message is more clear. Exception while fetching all the cars. What is this? The message is coming from here. The exact exception message as I am expecting. Okay? So this is the second way. Is there any other way? Yes. What's that? Previously, we introduced action filters. So one of the usages of filters is exception filters. So now in the filter, I created an exception filter folder, and then this is a class with inheritance from exception like this. It has a status and message again. So here again, I try to handle the exception and have the status code and the message. How can I use that? Like this. Uncomment this part. Type filter, type of HTTP response, exception filter. This guy. So here, I'm not going to use this one also anymore. So now it's ready to use. Let's see what is going to happen. Again, the exact exception is coming here. So now you are familiar with exception handling, and as I said, if you need more details, you can add more properties. You can add something here, for example, to log the error inside another database like Elastic, MongoDB, whatever. The basic and the most important thing is catching the errors, having the errors in your hand. What you should do or what you want to do with the exceptions is up to you. Do whatever you want. So in this section, with kind of three ways. One, default exception middleware. The second one, custom exception middleware. And then by exception filters, I could handle the exceptions. That's all for time being. Let's go to the next section.